Welcome to Cooking with Holly. Tonight we are actually going to do chicken sandwiches and a salad. It's pretty simple, but I'm actually going to sort of do the baked chicken on a roasting pan. Originally I thought about grilling it, but it got too late and I don't really want to mess with the lighting outside. So let's go ahead and get started. I have already preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and I actually went ahead and marinated the chicken just a little bit ago. That way I had at least 30 minutes for it to sort of soak in. And I did a barbecue rub. And so it's a really simple rub. And as you can see right here, I have everything ready to go. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this in the oven so that it can start cooking. And while that happens, we can go ahead and prep a little bit of the other stuff so that when the chicken gets done, we can get everything ready to come together. So I have a nice roasting pan right here and two good sized pieces of chicken. They ended up weighing about a little over a pound. So we're actually going to have a little bit of extra left over most likely. So let me grab a pot holder and go ahead and throw this in the oven. It's probably going to take approximately 30 minutes. Just make sure the chicken's done. About halfway or 2/3 the way through, I am going to then flip the chicken over, check on it, and see what comes up. So, what I have is a fresh tomato. It is local grown. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to create a few slices and then go ahead and chop the rest of it up to put on salad. So set that off to the side. And since I know that I'm only making 2 sandwiches, I am only going to cut a couple of slices off. Okay, so just 2 good slices, and I am setting this off here. That way I can store everything as I prep it. And then let me do it this way. And the sharper your knife is, the easier it is to work with a tomato. And basically, I am just going to cut it in approximately 1/4 inch chunks, just depending on how good your knife skills are. And the good thing is, it is a fresh, local tomato, so it's going to have really good flavor to it. And it's good for you. So, go ahead and turn that around, that way you can sort of see everything. So, that was simple and easy. Let me bring this over a little bit closer so that I can get this on the plate without making too big of a mess. And that way people can sort of build it however they want to. Now, what I'm going to do here is I have a few paper towels. I might have to grab a couple more. I'm not going to want to wash my cutting board. That would just make things too difficult and take a little extra time. So I'm going to try to expedite this show, which I have not been doing. I've been taking a little bit of excessive amount of time trying to get this stuff together. And so tonight, I am going to speed up the process if I can, at least attempt to. Now I have a little bit of leftover pineapple, so I'm going to cut this up in some smaller pieces for the salad. Don't be afraid if you want to add it to the chicken or anything. And I am using the same technique. Well, you know what? Instead of using that, I'll just use the trash I've already created. That way I don't have to worry about anything. So, with the pineapple, just cut it in some smaller pieces. That way, it'll go a little bit further on the salad. And it will at least give the imitation of having more pineapple on there, depending on how much you like. Me personally, I love pineapple. So, I can actually like just have pineapple for a meal, honestly. And pretty simple. Just cut it in small pieces. And as I mentioned last time, I have definitely gotten into a habit of sharpening my knives before I cook. And it makes it so much easier when you're actually cutting vegetables. And as you can see with the tomatoes here, I had no problem keeping them together instead of, you know, the notorious thing where you actually crush them and you're just having to deal with sort of tomato mush by the time you get done. So that is actually cutting really well right now. And so on the salad, it's going to be pretty simple. It's just tomatoes, pineapple, cheese, croutons. I'm not going to go through the trouble of making my own croutons tonight. I am just going to use store-bought. It's simple and easy. Now, like I've mentioned before, don't hesitate to leave any comments or questions that you might have below the video. That way, I'm happy to do like a question and answer segment if anybody's interested. Also, if anybody has any requests on something to cook. I did state that I was going to do a dip, and I changed my mind. So, this is just a standard meal I'm cooking, so nothing really that special about it. Got the same paper towel. Now, I did wash the tomato before we started. That way everything's clean. And on the lettuce that I've gotten, I actually already washed it too. And I went ahead and cored it. So that way you can sort of see what's going on here. I have already pulled that off. Now, what I'm going to do here with the lettuce, since we are making chicken sandwiches, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of good, nice pieces and get those sort of perfect for putting on top of a sandwich. And then I'm going to use the rest of it to make the salad out of. And so I'll just sort of set that there for now. And all my food is fresh, just bought from the store. That looks good. And then with this, let me, bigger knife. I am going to just go ahead and cut this up. Try not to make a mess. Now, I don't know how everybody else is, but I hate when I'm actually at a restaurant or anything and they have giant pieces of hard lettuce in the salad. I know they're using everything that they possibly can, but I would rather it be better for eating purposes. And that way you're not having to use a knife to cut your salad. You can go ahead and just start eating it with a fork and not really have any extra work to do. And that looks really good. Let me set this there. I am just going to do this little piece by hand. Sorry I have hair in my face right this second. Just break that up. And then, at least it's lettuce. So it's really just water. And I'm just going to put this off to the side for here right now. So that we can assemble the salad in just a little bit. So since I did that, let me take that piece out. Just a few pieces of lettuce. So just enough to make a couple of sandwiches and put this stuff on the salad. So now I am going to end up rinsing this off. That way, when the chicken comes out of the oven, I am actually going to carve it, and you'll get to see all that here shortly. But I'm going to carve it so that you don't have this big chicken chunk on your sandwich. We are also going to be toasting the bread. So let me just set this right here, get that all ready. I don't think I'm going to be using this, so let me put this off to the side. And let me clean my hands real quick. So, I have the chicken in the oven, already on 350. On this roasting pan, like I said, it's probably going to take approximately about 30 minutes. And so let me move some things around here. Because I'm also going to grate the cheese for the salad. So it's going to be fresh cheddar. And I'm also going to butter the bread before we toast it. And the reason being, even though I do like some nice grill marks in it, this will keep it from actually getting too crispy, especially around the edge as you broil it. And so I'm going to get that handled. Let me get this open and prepped. And I don't know how y'all are, but I am a cheese lover. So, it's always nice to cut off a little piece. That way you can sample it while you're cooking. And I do have my wine close by, which, as y'all know, I'm a big fan of drinking while I cook. So what I did was I have just a standard plate with a towel over it. That way, as I get this cheese grated, I can just cover it right up and it is sitting there ready for the salad that I'm going to make. I'm going to end up shredding about half of this block of cheese, so it's a brand new block of cheese. And we're actually going to end up putting a different type of cheese on the chicken sandwiches. And so, about the same time that we are broiling the bread, toasting it, we're going to put that cheese on with the chicken and get it melted all nice and sort of bring everything together. So, that is plenty of cheese for the salads. So as you can see here, just a simple, nice and easy. This is a nice cheese grater. As y'all saw, it did a really good job. And so I want to get this prepped. I'll end up putting this back in the fridge, having everything ready. So, what we have done here, in a really short amount of time, we have put the chicken in the oven. We have cut a tomato. We have sliced the pineapple. We have cut the lettuce up for a salad, pulling off a few nice good leaves to put on the chicken sandwich. And so really, the only thing I have left to do before letting the chicken finish cooking is working with the bread. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is get the bread ready for the oven. And I'm only making 2 sandwiches tonight. So that's all you're going to see me work with right now. And those are fresh. And so let me get this to where I can wrap it up so that everything is going to stay nice and fresh while everything's coming together. So I'm going to go ahead and actually put this away. And based on my other shows, when I actually cut and we're waiting on the chicken to finish cooking, I'm going to go ahead and clean my mess up, get everything ready. That way it's just time to carve the chicken and then get it prepped for the final process before we put it on a sandwich. So what I have is I went ahead and set out some butter too, hoping that it would get to room temperature and make it easier to spread. You can always put it on the oven or in a microwave and go ahead and melt it and use a brush to put it on there. But I'm just going to spread it with a knife tonight because I have gotten it soft already. I do like buying these fresh rolls. They were baked today. And so, as you've heard me harp on it in the past, the fresher the ingredients, the better the food tastes. And so I'm just splitting these things in half. You can always go a little bit towards the bottom side if you want to. But just trying to go through the thickest part of the bread when you're cutting it. So that turned out pretty good. I'm satisfied with that. And so what I have is basically 2 tablespoons of butter right here. And I'm going to take approximately 1/4 per piece, trying to get it around the edge as much as possible, because when you actually broil this, that is the area that's going to be more likely to get burnt. So I'm trying to make this to where we get a really good toasted bread. Butter always tastes good. And try to save the edge of it. So on this very first one, as you can see, a nice even spread around. And I might not end up using the whole 2 tablespoons, it looks like. Oops. And the softer the butter, the better it is for the bread. That way you're not ripping bread apart during this process. Because if anybody's ever done this before, I hate it when I ruin a good piece of bread by having a knife just get stuck to it. It's no fun at all. And I'm definitely, by what I've seen, no means a perfectionist, but I do try. I like it to present as well as possible. And of course I want it to taste good as good as possible. So like I said, I started around the edge, got a good buttered edge, and then I honestly just brought it back into the middle. So as you can see again, a pretty good spread of butter here. Like I said, I had cut out 2 tablespoons, and I am not actually going to end up using all of that. And so, as you see, we are just about done getting everything prepped. And so what we're going to end up doing is we're just going to end up waiting on the chicken to cook. So it'll be a good opportunity to hang out with your family, to take a cigarette break if you smoke, have another drink, really do whatever you want to while we're waiting on this. And let me double check the time. It's been in for approximately 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to have about 20 minutes of wait time. And you'll notice my habit with everything. I love to use paper towels just to sort of cover everything back up and not really worry. And same thing on the vegetables over here and the stuff for the salad. I'm just going to cover it with a paper towel and have it ready. Now, with the seasoning I used, I am going to call out the ingredients for you. That way you just have a general idea. In case you want to make your own, this is still from that specialty shop I mentioned. But it is just a smoked barbecue dry rub. And it contains brown sugar, paprika, black pepper, smoked salt, garlic, onion, thyme, cinnamon, chipotle, chili peppers, mace, and then a mesquite and hickory powder to go along with it. As you can tell, I'm officially out of it. I will need some more. That was always a really good rub. It is awesome on chicken, which is what I'm using it on tonight. I'm going to let this finish cooking. It is just about time to bring it out, turn it over, and then let it finish the last few minutes before I'm actually going to slice it, add the Swiss cheese, and put it back in the oven, let everything melt together. And then that way I can serve this, and while I melt the Swiss cheese on it, I'm also going to be toasting the bread. That way everything's sort of going at once, and then with the toasted bread and the baked chicken and Swiss cheese melted on it, then people can sort of build their sandwich the way they want to. So bear with me just a few more minutes, and I will definitely be back here. I'm going to clean up just a hair, and it'll be time to check the chicken. So I will see you in just a few. And actually, let me just set this on this for now because it's hot. Slide that over. And so, as you can see, everything is looking really good right now. And all I'm going to do is flip this over, even though, and honestly, it's actually pretty close to being done, but I'm always extra careful on my chicken because it's so easy to undercook it. And so real quick, there is a nice up close view. You can see it's steaming. It's definitely got some juices that have come out of it. And honestly, I think it's only going to need a few more minutes in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this right back in. And then it will be time to basically bring everything together. So just another minute and I'll be right back. Bye everybody. And of course be prepared because it's very hot. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my tongs. It feels like it's done. Good thing is I still have the oven going. And so if I do get in here and see an issue, I can take care of it. So let me just go ahead and take a peek. I think Oh yeah, we're done. Yeah, that feels good all the way through. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by just going ahead and cutting off this little end here. And as you can see, it is 100% done all the way through. And I'm going to try to slice this at an angle. That way you get a little bit more surface area for building the sandwich. And actually, I was a little bit worried that I might have overcooked it, but it is still very juicy in the middle. Now, since I am going to throw it back in the oven, that little juice is probably going to go away. But nonetheless, it is not overcooked. And just cut this whole piece of chicken the best you can. Like I said, the more surface area you can get, the better it's going to be for the person eating the sandwich. And then I'm just going to set that one bit to the side. This little piece to the side. Do the same thing with this piece. And try to keep them thin. That way people aren't having to sit there and chew through everything. You sort of get that melt in your mouth style. The thinner you can make it, the better. But also make sure there's enough for them to taste. And this chicken looks really good. I know y'all can't smell it, but it smells freaking awesome. And this piece right here, I'm getting a really good thin cut, just so you can sort of see, and you might be able to see the steam coming off of it. So it's still quite hot. And so I do like how that turned out. Let me turn the oven off. And then I'm going to go to a low broil. Because since the oven's already hot, it's not going to take, it's not like I'm having to preheat it or anything. So anything I put back in there is going to cook really fast. And I think I can get one more thin piece out of this. Awesome. So, now, as you can see, some nice good pieces of baked chicken. And actually, let me just leave that to the side here. On the same pan, I've already been using. What I'm going to end up doing is taking my pieces of bread, turning them butter side up, and then I'm going to be building 2 sandwiches, but without putting them on the bread. So I am going to layer these things together, and I will give you a better up-close view as I get this ready. And I just sort of judge it the best way possible. Just use your eyesight and try to build something very similar to the size of the bread that you're using. And I am going to end up using, y'all saw me cut it, so that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then on the other side, and I'm still cooking in the same area that I baked the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and build the same thing. So that's 2, 3. Actually, this is just going to make 2 really good sandwiches. 4, 5, 6, and let's see, what piece to use here. I'm going to use this piece because I had some thicker pieces of chicken on this one. And I'll tell you what, I'm just for good measure, I'm going to take this small piece and just throw that right there. Okay, so now what I have done, let me show you real quick. This is how I'm prepping it to go back in the oven. So I have basically taken that chicken and put it back into bun size, a little hut basically, you can call it. And then what I have is I have Swiss cheese. And I have basically 1.5 pieces. I'm going to put that right on top of each one. And I'll give you one more peek real quick, as you can sort of see how it's starting to come together. And so now, the oven should be perfectly ready for this. And I am going to just put this right back in. Try not to burn myself. And this process, you need to keep an eye on it. Do not walk away from the oven when you have something in on broil. I am approximately 39 minutes after the hour. It's only going to take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes most to accomplish this. And on this plate that I had the bread on, I'm going to go ahead and put this leftover chicken on it. So I honestly have enough chicken for one more sandwich. So with a little bit over 1 pound of chicken, you can basically make 3 hefty sandwiches. Let's see if I can pick that up. There we go. And so that's the amount of leftovers I have right now. With the lettuce that I'm going to end up having left over from the salads, that would make an awesome salad for lunch tomorrow. So let me put this off to the side. Double check what's going on in here. Everything is looking really good. Let's see. That way I don't burn anything here. I'm going to set this on the counter. That way I have a good area to show y'all what this looks like as it comes out. And go ahead and get a spatula ready, because it's going to be time to sort of build the sandwiches. Now, what I have here, still really good lettuce, still really good size, and then I am going to unfold my little cheese tent that I created. Have it ready to disperse. And I've also got some just standard mustard. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm picky on my mayonnaise. I'm from the South, and there are certain mayonnaises that you use because that's real mayonnaise and it's not spread. So, and just some nice restaurant style croutons. And so, everything's going to be basically ready for you and your guest or whoever to serve your meal. And I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. So, let me go ahead and pull this out of the oven. And it smells amazing. Bread is starting to get just a little bit brown around the outside. And so that should be perfect. So before assembly, I want you to sort of see how everything is sort of come together here. And so what I'm going to do is take the bottom piece here and here, and then make sure you get under all the chicken. Slide it right on the sandwich. Well, cheese being stingy there. Okay, put that off to the side. Now it's taking my hand. Okay. And what we have is two, and I'm not going to bring these up to the camera because this is how you actually serve it to your guest. 2 chicken sandwiches, all the ingredients to make a really nice salad here, and toppings for the chicken. So I am pretty satisfied with how this has turned out this evening. I know I said I was going to try to make this thing shorter. Obviously I did not. I never can cut on my cooking shows, but I have baked / roasted chicken sandwiches with Swiss cheese, toasted buns, and fresh salad to put on the plate along with it. If somebody wants a bigger salad, get a bigger bowl for them, no worries. Everything is honestly ready to go, so I do want to thank y'all for watching this. This is Cooking with Holly, episode 3, baked chicken, Swiss sandwiches, and salad. Make sure, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the space below. And there is a link to my Facebook and other things there. So don't be shy. Feel free to say hi. And it is time to eat. So thank y'all for watching. And I will definitely be back soon. Bye, everybody.